We are on to track 2. This is the Weakerthans with Everything Must Go. Grant, this came from you. Tell us a little bit about Everything Must Go.
Yeah, so before I jump into how much I love this band and this album, I'm going to hit to the why they're on the playlist, which is this is one of the CDs from Sub City, and it's really the record label that the Weakerthans were on. This is the album Left and Leaving, and it's on Sub City Records. They eventually were on Epitaph and Anti Records. But Sub City is, I'll say, kind of a philanthropic label that is more punk rock oriented or punk rock centered, if you will. This song, Everything Must Go, was on this compilation that I got. I don't actually think this is where I heard about the Weakerthans. I think I found them from somewhere else, and then Everything Must Go is the first song I heard, and I was like, I'm hooked. This is like a perfect 10 album to me. Anyway, let me go back to Sub City. Like they have like these nonprofit organizations while spreading social awareness. They aim to have an impact that goes beyond music. And so in the theme of community and connection and the role music plays, Sub City is a label that cares about donating to the cause. And in this case, this Take Action was one of their many samplers, but it was benefiting the foundation fighting blindness. A lot of their record labels or their compilations or their concerts, I think they're called Hopeless Records now, they're focused on benefiting the community. Obviously delivered in sort of a punk rock, indie rock, whatever you want to call it kind of way. And I was inspired by that too. I think music above just delivering music is important, and the role that a label would play, a role that a band like the Weakerthans, who are clearly care about things like good music and community support, were willing, wanted to jump on that label. So that's why they're on this playlist. I think there's a second part of that too, which is the song is super deep. I like Pitchfork.com does this thing right now where they'll have an artist say what their perfect 10 album would be. If I was ever asked by Pitchfork, it would be Left and Leaving by the Weakerthans is a perfect 10 album. It is one of my top 5 desert islands. This is what I grab running out of the house when it's on fire. This is a perfect album to me, start to finish. It starts with this song, and the lyrics are just cutting, and they're funny in a John K. Samson kind of way, but they're very deep. And I'm sure you guys will reflect on the lyrics too, so I'll only hit a couple because I could go for all day on this band and on this song. But like the mixing and the juxtaposition of like tangible things like plastic daffodils and pocket watches and puke green sofas mixed with those intangible things that are also maybe for sale this day, like the 40-hour work week or the outline of a complicated dream of dignity. The idea of somebody, offering you a phone call from far away saying, hey, how are you today? Like he's mixing these things in an extremely poetic way. I had Skip in the car with me yesterday. I was like, hey, listen to this song. Tell me what you think. And I was just like, isn't the poetry amazing? And he's like, well, all songs are poetic. And I was like, okay, fair point, dude. But this one's really poetic to me. This is like significantly meaningful stuff that is just this. It lives on a page by itself without the music. But with the music, it's so elevated. When you watch, we'll have the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll go to a live version of the song, which was so close to how they performed on the album that I just loved it so much. And you got to see the keyboard and the piano and the xylophone that the drummer plays, and just the care that they took about the song, as well as I love the whole song, but I really, really love his last 3 words, or best offer. I mean, he's putting himself into the theme of a garage sale for things that he needs to pay his heart's outstanding bills. At the end of the day, he's like, I'll take what you got, man. And he even like steps back from the mic to just barely have it audible. There's so much craftsmanship here, and he is one of my favorite songwriters, one of my favorite albums. The thing I do like that I'll just mention from the lyrics as well is the 40-hour work week weighs 1,000 kilograms. So he's offering you this 40-hour work week, but he's like, it's 1,000 kilograms, so bend your knees when you lift it. And then he's like, but it comes with a free fake smile for all your dumb demands. Like, it's just well crafted to the point where I don't ever think of a garage sale ever the same way. I see one and I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to get to engage with that person instead of just buy their, McDonald's Star Wars glass from 1985 or whatever. Like, there's just something to this, and I have to bring it to the forefront. Weakerthans have come up before. They're one of my favorites. I highly recommend this album. Highly recommend Sub City as well. When you think about what music does for the community, here's a way that it gives back. So open to whoever wants to take it from there.
What you got, Sean?
Well, you said it was 10 out of 10 album. And it's funny to me to hear you say that, because the first thing that I wrote down about this song is, I think this is one of the perfect songs in the world. It's one of my favorites, has been for a long time, and this is a favorite band and a favorite album, so I was happy when this hit. I think that the essence of the song is, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could get rid of the things that you're carrying around in your life like you do at a garage sale, and that you'd be willing to just let it go. You know, someone comes in and they want these old books, or they want these old things, these plastic daffodils, and you just let them go. So there's this metaphor that's brewing throughout of how it's if only it was that easy, and there's kind of a tension to it, but there's this emotional detachment that comes throughout, and just the lyrics, like you said, they're so clever and interesting. It's very easy to listen to and to go grab the lyric sheet, because he doesn't, make it obvious with his enunciation of what each thing is, but you go back and they make a lot of sense, and it's really clever. So the song is wonderful. The way they deliver it is also very slick. It's so in the pocket. The vocals sit just slightly behind the beat, the down-tempo nature, and then like the shimmering keyboard fills, the understated guitar in the back half, and it's just so good. There's even this really long cymbal ride. I think he must have almost like Mardi Gras beads sitting on top of his ride cymbal, and he hits it and it just like shimmers for an entire measure. It happens at minute 1 on the Spotify version, if you want to try to find what I'm talking about. But it's a great song, and I don't know much about this, but I'll tell you that as this song hit the playlist, I went and read a couple articles about it, and one of the things that was said about the musicianship on the song is that it's got an unresolved chord progression. And so I wasn't really sure what that meant. And when I dug into it, that typically a chord progression will bring harmonic closure and will basically bring you to the appropriate chord in the progression to close it out, or back to the first chord. And it doesn't do that. And so part of what people much smarter than me were saying about the song was that it's part of what adds to the tension, and part of what adds to the incongruence and maybe the emotional detachment to how the author feels about where they are in life, and this sort of garage sale type moment of wanting perhaps to just dump some of these things and let some of the baggage of life go. So I think it's a wonderfully constructed song. I couldn't be happier that it landed, and was really fun to dig back into it. When you listen to a song, I mean, maybe I have 1,000 listens on this song in my lifetime, but I never really listened to it the way I did on this time. And so that was really fun for me to go back and revisit something that I knew so well, but find all these new things about it. So thanks for that. That was a lot of fun.
Super cool. Well, I knew of the Weakerthans and I knew of this song, but I definitely have far fewer than 1,000 listens on it. So it's good to hear you guys riffing on it, because I love the song for its musicianship and the lyrics, but having sort of those frames are fun for me to now think about. And I'm thinking about the way a writer writes lyrics, or a storyteller just uses the scene and the setting to have a certain feel around it. Like, why do we have garage sales? Why would we be saying everything must go? Like, why do we do sales? It's to sort of get rid of stuff that is no longer relevant or is no longer meaningful to me, the individual, or whatever. So interesting. The garage sale motif or that setting brings with it a certain gravity, which is fun to think about. I do love the lyrics, and I love the song, and I'm excited to get into it. Hearing you guys talk about it, I think is the part that makes me so happy around the 31st hour. So, anything, Grant, before we spin it?
I just love the recovery comes to the broken ones. I think I hadn't thought about it before, but it kind of ties back into the broken things, the recovery of broken things in the context of the 31st hour as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it definitely feels like something you'd do the next morning after a breakup, after a big fight, after something that goes down. So I get rid. These are all the things I no longer need.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, here's "Everything Must Go" by the Weakerthans off the 2000 album "Left and Leaving."